Welcome back everyone. Today we continue with the next part of this series called What If Future Gohan Was Never Killed by the Androids. Let's aim for 350 likes on this one. Also, don't forget to leave a comment letting me know if you've enjoyed the series so far. With that, let's begin. Gohan felt the presence of a second, slightly weaker ki approaching rapidly. The new arrival stood alongside the first, seemingly trying to comprehend what they had sensed. That's right. Just stand there and wait, Gohan muttered to himself. He guessed that Shiny, the leader of these mechanical beings, must be among the group now that the other Grey Cooler had called for backup. With determination, Gohan readied himself. His body twisted into a sideways stance as he prepared the attack his father had perfected. Though he could see nothing in the darkness, he focused on where the creatures stood. "Kami," he whispered, a bright blue flash glowing from his hand, casting a blue tint across the barrier around him. Haim, the ball of energy in his hand intensified, expanding until it strained against his fingers, desperate to be unleashed. He felt the ki of the two aliens flare up, realizing they were beginning to understand what was coming. But it was too late. Ha! Gohan thrust his hand forward, releasing the blast towards the unseen sky, targeting the duo standing above him through feet of dirt and rubble. The beam tore from his hand with a thunderous roar, slicing through the debris like a hot knife through butter. It erupted beneath the mechanical creatures like an unstoppable force of nature. The beam grew wider, longer than Gohan was tall, making it seem as if his entire body was channeling the attack. The blinding blue and white light engulfed the two warriors, propelling them higher into the atmosphere. Their suits began to crack and chip under the intense power, the noise of their breaking metal lost in the overwhelming roar of the Kamehameha wave. Gohan clenched his eyes shut as the attack connected, pouring every ounce of energy he had into the blast. It lasted only 10 seconds, 10 intense, grueling seconds, but it was enough. The attack hit its mark, damaging the powerful suits of his enemies. As the blue aura around him faded, he dropped his arm to his side, his shoulders sagging with exhaustion. Gasping for breath, he murmured, "All right, that might have been a bit much." He pulled himself out of the dirt hole, his body aching from the effort. He gazed up at the sky, sensing the still alive energy of the two Grey Coolers, but they were no longer visible. Before he could react, a powerful roundhouse kick struck his cheek, sending him stumbling back. He rubbed his sore cheek and looked up to see Shiny standing there, aloof and unfazed. Damn, I was certain I got him in the blast, Gohan thought, realizing the fight was far from over. Gohan stole a quick glance at the sky, curious if Shiny's two allies were going to intervene. He sensed they were still where he'd sent them flying, probably recovering from the damage. He turned his attention back to Shiny, who stood with an air of arrogance, arms crossed, as if this battle was beneath him. After a tense silence, the creature finally spoke in its robotic voice. "Well, are you going to stand there like a frozen monkey, or will I have to force you to fling your crap like the ape you are?" Gohan was more surprised than insulted by the creature's choice of words, reminded of Frieza's mocking tone when he tormented Vegeta. Memories of Vegeta's brutal beating and his own inaction flooded his mind, filling him with a renewed resolve. He wouldn't be weak and helpless this time. Smiling at Shiny, Gohan allowed his reserved energy to surge forth, his body engulfed in a bright yellow flame. It created a menacing effect as he slowly lifted his hand, beckoning Shiny to attack with a motion of his index finger. Well then, Shiny stuttered, clearly taken aback by the power radiating from Gohan. "It seems I will have to force the monkey to play." Shiny vanished from view, but Gohan easily tracked his movements. The creature reappeared above Gohan, arm outstretched, ready to fire an energy blast. Gohan remained still, calculating his next move. "I don't have much energy left," he thought. "I've bluffed well, but I need to finish this quickly before the others recover." Instead of waiting for Shiny to attack, Gohan launched himself at the creature with incredible speed. Shiny fired a thin purple beam from his hand. Gohan caught the energy in his palm, pushing through the resistance as he closed the distance between them. Shiny, panicking, doubled his efforts, using both hands to increase the beam's power. Gohan momentarily paused under the increased pressure but soon resumed his advance, purple flames licking his face as the beam exploded against his hand. Shiny's posture shifted to one of panic as Gohan drew nearer, the beam's power failing to stop him. Realizing he couldn't overpower Gohan, Shiny abruptly ceased his attack and spun into a roundhouse kick. The attack landed squarely against Gohan's ribcage, catching him off guard. He grunted in pain but quickly readied his knee and elbow, smashing them together with Shiny's leg caught in between. The leg dented from both sides, sparks of rogue electricity shooting out from the now open wound. A few stray wires limped out, each shooting small amounts of blue plasma. Shiny immediately pulled away, weakly bending the limb at the knee to see if it would still operate. Seizing the opportunity, Gohan rushed forward. He feinted a punch towards Shiny's face, watching with satisfaction as the metallic cooler flinched. Shiny raised its arms to block the non-existent attack, giving Gohan the opening to smash a powerful elbow into its stomach. Chips of metal flew as Gohan unleashed his aggression. He followed with a major uppercut to Shiny's chin, then sent a well-timed kick to the creature's throat, curious to see its reaction. Rather than gag as Gohan expected, Shiny simply took the blow, knocked back but showing no signs of pain. Why isn't it feeling my attacks? Shouldn't the Ice Jin inside be hurt by all this? Gohan wondered. Shiny rushed forward, throwing a frail punch that Gohan easily caught. His grip tightened as he lifted his foot and smashed his boot into Shiny's torso, aiming precisely under the armpit. He began to pull away, attempting to rip off the arm completely as it slowly tore. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his palm, like something was stabbing into it. Gohan released his opponent with a shout, looking at his hand in shock. Blood dripped from a severe puncture wound in the center of his palm. Growling, he closed his fingers into a fist and looked up at his semi-mutilated enemy, trying to understand how he'd been cut. He watched in surprise as a needle retracted back into the knuckles he had been gripping tightly. Shiny was hunched over, its uninjured arm holding the broken shoulder gingerly, trying to push it back into place. Gohan took a moment to observe Shiny's kneecap, which was still spraying rogue electricity and oozing a strange blue liquid, possibly some sort of fuel for the suit. Shaking away the thought, Gohan was about to voice his anger when he heard Shiny's faint robotic cackle. The small chuckle quickly evolved into a full-blown hysterical laugh, with Shiny leaning back its head to release the unsettling laughter. Frustrated, Gohan asked, "Did I miss the punchline? If memory serves right, you were just getting your butt kicked." The metallic Ice Jin quickly composed itself, responding with a cold smirk. "You've already lost, you overpowered imbecile. Your habit of grappling has been your downfall." Gohan glanced down at his still bleeding hand, worry creeping into his voice as he asked, "What did you do to me?" "Hehehe, just a quick injection. The effects will hit you soon," the creature replied with glee. "What will be the effects?" Gohan asked urgently. "Oh, you'll see soon enough, though I advise you to kiss your Earth goodbye, as this is probably the last time you'll be alive to see it." Gohan shut his eyes tight, cursing himself for his carelessness. Damn it, what can I do at this point? I don't have the option of Senzu, and I doubt Bulma would be able to help me any. He looked back up at Shiny, a furious flame alight in his eyes. "If I'm going down, you're going down with me." He rushed forward, choreographing such an obvious punch that he thought the feint would surely alert the Ice Jin. Surprisingly, the metallic cooler fell for the bluff and opened both hands in front of its stomach, attempting to halt the fake gut shot. Gohan immediately switched gears, spinning around and using the heel of his boot to smash violently into the side of Shiny's neck. The blow did more than intended as he felt Shiny's spine shift, giving way to Gohan's foot. The Demisine quickly lifted his other leg and collided it against Shiny's frail, cracked metallic cheek. The attack dislodged Shiny's head, causing it to spin around its axis in a full 360-degree arc. Gohan backed away slowly, watching the twitching body struggle to remain airborne. After several seconds of this painful display, Gohan grew sick of watching. He placed his hand to Shiny's neck, releasing a short blue blast that decapitated the monster. Gohan watched in shock as stray, fried wires shot out of the android, the familiar blue liquid splattering against his arm. He caught the falling body and peered down the torn throat, seeing nothing but intricate, though damaged, wiring along with strange mechanical components all pumping the blue plasma out into the unavailable brainstem. "Damn it!" he shouted, seething with rage as he tossed aside the body of the android. "Pointless. I destroyed a damn robot. Wait, shit!" He spun around as he felt the familiar power levels of the two less detailed mecha coolers approaching. What he saw surprised him. Two heavily damaged Ice Jins stood before him, each bearing a heavy resemblance to Frieza's fourth form. They still wore sections of the cooler suits, but several chunks had been blown off, revealing their white and purple skin. One stood to the left of the Demi-Saiyan, no longer wearing the cooler helmet, revealing a slender and slightly feminine face. Without the helmet on, the Ice Jin's voice was high-pitched with slight annoyance. "It seems Horfrost's suit has been destroyed. Damn. If only the monkey hadn't dodged so much in the beginning, we would have been able to inject him sooner. Now we're probably going to hear an earful when we get back." She spoke to her companion as she stared down at the heap of metal that used to belong to this Horfrost character. The second Ice Jin spoke, his helmet still attached, though parts of his chest plate and neck guard were burnt and missing, causing his voice masker to malfunction. His voice fluctuated in volume, deep and stern. "I agree, she does tend to make an issue of these things, though we've told her on multiple occasions that these..." The female Ice Jin interrupted, raising a hand. Niveus, please, take off the helmet. It's hard to listen to you speak. Niveus growled at the mention of his name, quickly tearing off the helmet to reveal a wide face with cruel and angry eyes. He spoke quickly. I told you not to repeat our names in front of enemies. I dislike when our slaughter can call me by my title. Oh, whatever. He's going to drop in a few minutes anyway, so it doesn't matter what he knows. She rolled her eyes, dismissing Niveus's concern and planting her sights on Gohan. She smiled at his shocked expression and crossed her arms, one of which was missing the armor from the elbow down. Fiddling with her arms for a second to find a comfortable position, she finally succeeded and addressed Gohan in an annoyed tone. Anyhow, seeing as you've done some serious damage to our mecha suits with that annoying blue blast, I'd like to get a few kicks in before the serum takes you. Oh, Niveus shouted excitedly, breaking his serious demeanor and acting more like a child. Can we please describe to him what we're going to do to his race? He spoke with the enthusiasm of a child begging for a toy. I always love their reaction when they find out. I already know, Gohan interrupted, feeling queasy as his vision began to blur. He wanted to rush them, but he felt his movements slow, and merely floating forward made him want to vomit. Damn it, it's taking effect. He spoke calmly, trying to hide his progressing weakness, though his Super Saiyan aura was flickering. You plan on destroying the Earth. Queen Cold wishes to take vengeance on my planet for my father's actions against the Cold family. He paused mid-sentence, gasping as his breathing quickened. Niveus waved his metal-coated finger like a teacher correcting a student. It's far worse than that, Saiyan. Well, the fate of the planet is correct, but I was talking about your race. Do you wish to know the doom of you and your ally? Trunk was his name. Gohan clenched his eyes shut as a nauseating headache hit him, combining with the severe pain in his chest. He knew it was only a matter of minutes before the poison completely took over. All right, if I'm going to do anything, it has to be now. I'm going to fall to this soon, and my remaining strength is slowly draining away. Funny, it was a chest pain similar to this that my father felt just before he died. Like father, like son, I suppose. There was no sadness in accepting his death. Gohan had come to terms with dying long ago while fighting the androids. He felt sorrow for leaving Trunks and Bulma in such a dire situation, but he had seen tremendous potential in the young Demi-Saiyan. He knew Trunks was close to breaking the wall that held him back from becoming a Super Saiyan. Gohan resolved to do as much as he could in his final moments. Killing these two Ice Djinns seemed impossible, as their power levels were both beyond Frieza's at full power. Thankfully, the suits seemed broken and no longer provided the boost they once did. Normally, this would encourage Gohan, but in his weakened state, he knew the fight would be tough. It's always been a tough fight. No change here, just another struggle. Come on, Gohan, you've survived this long. Are you really going to leave the world without making an impact? You're Goku's son, one of the first to become a Super Saiyan, one of the first to save an entire universe from a tyrant. If you are half the man he was, you'll destroy at least these two. He slowly reopened his eyes, mentally and physically preparing for battle. He lifted his hand, which had slowed the bleeding to a trickle, and aimed his palm at the rambling figure of Niveus. Niveus was still detailing the tortures they would apply to Gohan and Trunks once Earth was destroyed. Silence, Gohan said menacingly, as a bright blue sphere filled his hand. The light shone on both Ice Djinns, quickly catching their attention. Niveus's speech ceased, allowing Gohan a peaceful and satisfying silence. The silence was quickly broken to Gohan's displeasure as the female Ice Djinn spoke. It seems our little Mutt Sen here doesn't want to spend his last conscious moments listening to your babble, Niveus. I suspect he'd rather have these moments filled with a further beatdown from the two of us. We'll see, Gohan said calmly before firing the energy blast. Dr. Gero's lab. Trunks sat tensely on the floor as Videl and Bulma spoke at the back of the room. Videl was still getting over the fact that she had just spoken to the Golden Warrior in person, while Bulma told her a few things about the one-armed Demi-San. Trunks, on the other hand, couldn't relax as much as they could. He sat curled up in a ball, registering the 3 energy levels as he tracked the battle between Gohan and the Ice Djinns. He had met one while defending South City, but it hadn't been in one of those metal suits. Even without the suit, the bastard was too much for me. What do those suits do exactly? He understood that the suits gave the Ice Djinns significant strength boosts, as their power levels were nearly nothing compared to Gohan's. Yet it seemed that the battle was rapidly draining Gohan's energy. Damn it, I should have stayed and fought on. Trunks could tell the fight was going poorly for Gohan. Midway through, Gohan's energy began to slip drastically, dropping at a rate so fast that it was now measuring close to the 2 Ice Djinns' power levels. Trunks stood up, limping slightly as he stepped towards the exit of the cave. He limped over the 2 broken steel doors and out towards the night air. What are you doing? His concerned mother called out to him. Gohan's in trouble. I need to help him. Trunks responded immediately, continuing to walk out of the cave. He reached the cave's mouth when he heard footsteps sprinting from behind him. Vidal's face emerged, determination etched across her features. "I'm coming," she said. Trunks shook his head at her eagerness. "No, you're too weak. You wouldn't make a difference." "Like you would?" Vidal said, offended. Her blue eyes shot daggers as she continued. "You're limping everywhere, and I'm guessing that flying over there will drain what remaining energy you have left." Bulma came sprinting, trying to stop her son. She heard Vidal's comment and capitalized on it. "She's right. Trunks, you shouldn't go. As she neared the two, her words faltered, replaced by tired gasps of air. She held her stomach as she caught her breath, murmuring, "I have to work out more." Before she continued, "She's right, Trunks. I was on Namek when Frieza was trying to take over, and I know for certain that an Ice Djinn can only be defeated by a Super Saiyan." She placed a hand on her hip while pointing the other at Trunks. "And no offense, son, but you're nowhere close to a Super Saiyan. I was told that no one was able to stand up to Frieza until Goku transformed. Even Gohan was rendered useless with his legendary rage." Trunks nodded, envisioning Goku battling the creatures he'd encountered in South City. He had only ever seen pictures of Gohan's dad, but he always imagined him as a reassuring figure, someone who knew how to find the light even in the darkest of times. He'd seen these traits in Gohan sometimes. Whenever they spoke of the androids, Gohan always tried to cheer him up, assuring him that he was close to ascending, that soon he'd be strong enough to fight alongside him. These moments built up hope, but it didn't take long for that hope to dissipate when Gohan would return from a battle bloody and bruised, hardly conscious. Trunks blinked a few times, washing away the stray thoughts, and responded to Bulma as he realized his own limitations. "You guys, gals, are right. I probably wouldn't stand a chance against those aliens." He turned his back to the two and stared out into the night sky, eyeing the direction he knew South City to be. "But I know a certain someone who would." "South City." The grumpy android sat cross-legged upon three brutally deformed alien soldiers, their corpses stacked to form a makeshift throne. The blonde-haired vixen flicked a stray hair behind her ear and re-examined the cracked and broken road beneath her. Damaged and desolate homes lined both sides, their silence speaking volumes about the lives once lived there. Her remaining arm idly fiddled with the stump of her right shoulder as she pondered the mundane, unimportant lives the residents must have led. She imagined each of them working repetitive jobs, striving for maximum profit with minimal effort, and engaging in cliché social activities. "Actually, that doesn't sound half bad," 18 murmured to herself, envisioning herself among a group of friends. But the thought quickly turned dark as she imagined slaughtering each one of them, each friend more despicable than the last, and none deserving anything less than death for their crimes against the earth. It amused her that she even entertained the idea of having human friends, questioning why she thought of them as allies first. Well, they are the only other intelligent life on the planet. Well, using the term intelligent is pretty generous, though it is pretty hard to hang out with a bunch of wild animals, even if they are nice. Ironically, she never had any difficulties with the animals she encountered. Domestic cats and dogs approached her without caution, probably sensing she had no hate for them. She would even befriend animals of the forest if given the chance. She recalled a time she stumbled upon a large brown bear roaring furiously. She had quickly silenced its unnecessary noise with a light flick on the nose, startling it as no creature had likely challenged it before. The bear immediately ceased its nonsense and became drastically interested in the android, sniffing and eyeing her carefully. Over time, with enough treats and training, she had managed to befriend the bear, bringing it regular meals on a day-to-day basis. 17 hadn't liked it though. He said it deviated from their regular routine of destruction and that she should focus more on killing filthy humans than feeding stupid bears. She remembered brushing off his annoyance and continuing to visit the bear, telling 17 that it was a nice break to spend time with someone so clean and sophisticated compared to him. After a few more days, 17 had asked to meet the creature, curious why 18 was so insistent on visiting this animal. She had enjoyed his initial interest and showed him the way to her wild friend, naively unaware of his true intentions. The moment they landed, her friendly brown bear emerged from his regular cave, excited to see his new ally. That's it for this episode, guys. If you've watched to the end, then that may be an indication that you enjoy the episode, so please drop a like so the video could reach more people. See you in the next episode. Take care.